Hey there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today I'll be reacting to and analyzing the lyrics of Anagram by Rush. Now this will be my first time hearing the song Anagram, and just judging by the title of this track, Anagram. Anagram is a puzzle. I expect this song to be a puzzle, and pretty much every single Rush song up until this point that I've listened to and reacted to has been dense, both musically and lyrically. They really oftentimes have multiple meanings to some of their lyrics and songs. So when it comes to analyzing them, it's a great time to be a critical thinker. I'm excited to check this one out here today. But before we do jump in, a massive thank you goes to Avi, whose generous support made this reaction possible. And now, let's just jump in. Notice the album cover here. It's like a magic trick with many rabbits.
There's a snake coming out of the darkness, parade from paradise, and the need for reading.
Oh wow.
Chase the dreams of merchandise.
Consumerism.
There is tick-tock in atomic. Leaders make a deal. Cosmic is largely comic.
Oh.
A con they couldn't conceal.
Is this about religion? You know what? I am going to just listen to the full song and then we'll try to dive deeper into these lyrics, because otherwise we will get stuck.
They couldn't conceal. There is no safe seat at the feast.
Oh, I like this line.
Stab at the beast. Night is turning faint. Saint is turning to saint.
Wow, yeah.
Raise the arc to resistance. Danger dare to be grand.
Wow.
Pride reduced to humble pie. Diamonds down to sand.
Wow, these are all, I mean, this is just all so poetic.
It's hard from earth and weather. Brightness of new birth. Take heart from the harvest. Shave the harvest from the earth. There is no safe seat at the feast. Take your best stab at the beast. Night is turning pale.
Simple melody so far.
The saint is turning to saint. Reasoning's partly insane. Image just an eyeless game. The night is turning pale. The saint is turning to saint.
Oh. Dude, the drumming is crazy good.
Miracles will have their claimers. More will bow to Rome.
Consistent.
He and she are in the house, but there's only me at home. Roses and roses splendor. Pose to respond in the end. Lonely things like nights I find and find a way of bread. I hear it, the rate of her heart.
This is a small point here, but I've noticed that there's practically no repetition in the song other than the final two lines in these choruses here. If you look, the first chorus here, there is no safe seat at the feast. And then the last two lines, the night is turning thin, the saint is turning to sin. This gets repeated a bunch. But then, okay, this actually gets repeated twice. Apologies. But then in the third chorus, it looks like, yeah, the first two lines get changed. Okay.
I hear it, the rate of
even the chords are different a little bit.
The saints is turning to sin. There is no safe seat at the
And now returning to choruses 1 and 2.
stab at the beast. Night turns day.
Ooh.
The saint turns to sin.
And then it just dissipates. Wow. Very interesting song. It feels like we started with a bang on this one and ended in this like calm space. Because right away at the beginning, right, there was that second of a blasted noise. Here, let's play it again. Just boom, and then in the end you have this. So it's almost like you could just infinitely loop the song. So let me just hit the loop button on YouTube because it's getting quieter again. And then you could just hit it again. Yeah. I was going to say this song, because of the way that they started and stopped it, feels infinitely loopable there, which is very an interesting approach. I don't know if that's something they considered, but I at least noticed that. So let's take a look at these lyrics here. Definitely in terms of structure, again, the main part I noticed is the repetition in those choruses. So it seems like we repeated this section 4 times, but in the third chorus we had the deviation to "I hear in the rate of her heart, a tear in the heat of the art." So let's just start at the top and read through these. There's a lot of, I think, nuggets of wisdom here, gems, and overall just poetic lines that deserve a deeper dive. So let's just jump in. There's a snake coming out of the darkness, parade from paradise, end the need for Eden, chase the dreams of merchandise. Sometimes I can never tell if Rush are being like ironic to make the point, or if they are giving a prescription here, because I think my like guesstimation for Rush is that they oppose religion. So when they say things like end the need for Eden, that is like a literal call to action rather than like an ironic statement. But there's a snake coming out of the darkness, parade from paradise. All of these things, like the snake, the Garden of Eden, paradise, these all have a lot of religious imagery and connotations associated with them. But even if you strip that aside, it feels like there is a darkness that is approaching, and we don't necessarily know what it is. Snakes, they are very, very quick. They're cunning. They can constrict around you. They can impale you and give you venom. And based on this snake, now you chase the dreams of merchandise, of retail, of consumerism, which I would not ever suggest somebody to chase the dreams of merchandise. I feel like there are higher values. There's more to life than just the assets you own. There's TikTok in Atomic. There's TikTok in Atomic. Leaders make a deal. The cosmic is largely comic. A con they couldn't conceal. I might have to do this just in reverse order, because this paragraph here, I notice here the cosmic is largely comic. Again, maybe like a jab at religion here. Whatever the cosmos is or meant to be is the perception is it's being abused, and therefore it is comical rather than something worth considering. And this is now a con rather that they couldn't conceal. I'm noticing also a large amount of alliteration with C. Couldn't conceal. Also implying that the leaders are trying to hide the fact that religion is fraudulent, essentially. There is no safe seat at the feast. Take your best stab at the beast. Right away, these lines are just so jarring. It feels like everybody is getting to enjoy the fruits of their labor, of whatever consumer markets they inhabit, right? They get to live a financially stable life, or maybe have more than their fair share. But in the end, those people too will be consumed, cannibalized, pushed into the middle class, the lower class, because no Sif is sate. You are always in a perpetual state of competition where maybe you feel like you're at the top of society, but really that feeling is one that is intended for you to feel rather than you actually feeling it for any realistic reason. And in other words, it's like best to watch your back, which is interesting then that it says take your best stab at the beast. I wonder who they say is the beast here. The night is turning thin, the saint is turning to sin. Yeah, this I've heard about this line a lot. This is also like a lyric that I myself have written in a kind of different format, but many people who preach are hypocrites themselves. And, it's one thing to say good things and preach things, but it's another thing to actually enact and follow through with those good things. And oftentimes, like the Dark Knight quote, you live too long and you eventually see yourself become the villain, even if you were prior a hero. So there's no safe seat at the feast. You yourself at some point may become the beast, that saint that you were prior. Now you become a sinner. I don't know, it feels like this revolving door of goodness becoming badness, not necessarily returning back to goodness. We'll see. Maybe this is a very like nihilistic song. Raise the art to resistance. Raise the art. So this could be a double here, because raise, it could be raise like uplift, or raise could be like actually R-A-Z-E. The spelling is different. I was going to say set the fire alight to the art. But allow art to form as some version of resistance. Art is one of the first things to be destroyed and concealed when like despots are beginning to seize power and take over, right? Speech starts getting limited. Danger, dare to be grand. Pride reduced to humble pie. Diamonds down to sand. God, each of these lines. Avi in his notes to me let me know like, hey, you may need to Google to figure this one out. And there's a lot that I can take multiple ways that I might actually need to phone a friend here. Let me keep taking stabs at this and we'll see if I do need to phone that friend. Raise the art to resistance. Danger, dare to be grand. It is dangerous to be daring and to be grand, really, because when you become bigger than yourself, you've already exposed yourself now to a wider assortment of, eyeballs, as well as people who are detractors from you or want to come for you, right? The moment you make yourself visible is the moment you are in more danger, regardless of the circumstance. It's almost like a flip, too, because you want to be, dare to be grand, but that is dangerous. But they flip it. They start with danger. Danger, dare to be grand. Then the following lyric, pride reduced to humble pie, which I understand that. Diamonds down to sand. So it's almost like all four of these lines here are some version of distilling larger concepts into what they ought to be. Like, does it really matter that we have diamonds? Isn't sand more valuable? Pride feels good, but it's better to be served with humble pie instead. It's challenging. This one's a challenging one. Take heart from earth and weather. The brightness of new birth. So take heart. I think take heart could look like find esteem in, or take your confidence from the earth, from the weather, from the seasons. Just by virtue of being human, you can take pride in being human. Your value is intrinsic in that sense. The brightness of new birth. Take heart from the harvest, and then shave the harvest from the earth. So the harvest, how can a harvest happen? You can only have a harvest when you've already planted many seeds and you've put in effort, exhibited discipline, and then in the end you shave the harvest from the earth, thereby removing it. So it's, again, like brings me back to a bit of nihilism, because if you're taking pride and, some kind of, you're deriving some value or fulfillment or self-esteem from the fruits of your labor, and then you're just ridding those fruits from the earth later, it feels a bit all for naught. Oh, I'm definitely doing a Google after this. There's no safe seat at the feast. Take your best stab at the beast. The night is turning thin. The saint is returning. Or sorry, the saint is turning to sin. Returning could have been a good line there too. There's no safe seat at the feast. So the feast is the feast of the harvest, now that we have that context. No safe seat at the harvest. You could also imagine that the harvest is temporary, that it's seasonal. It's not going to be there forever. You can do very well in 2024, and then the tariffs hit in 2025, and things aren't going so well. Not to get political, but yeah, it's a wild time we live in. Reasoning is partly insane. Image just an eyeless game. These are all like oxymorons or inherent contradictions, right? Because reasoning should be sane, but you say is partly insane. Image just an eyeless game, but how do you view the image? You must have workable eyes, yet it's an eyeless game, implying that it's not even objective. It is a fallacy unto itself. So image, right? It's not just like a picture, but image is perception, right? And perception is often reality. But even looking at a perception and trying to derive value from it isn't that helpful, because it itself is half-truths as well. Even though a picture can say 1,000 words, there's thousands more words that are being unspoken in that same picture, because you would need the entire 360 picture to see everything that's going on. So any version of reasoning is inaccurate. It's always an oversimplification. That could be the implication behind these two lines here. And this is, again, a moment where, well, I guess the first moment in the song where the lyrics and the chorus change. So I feel like this is particularly important. And also I'm just thinking again about the the title of this track, Anagram. It's a puzzle. An anagram has a bunch of disjointed letters that can all be formed into multiple different words. It doesn't have to just be one word. One word would be the floor, potentially, but there's many other possibilities. Does that play a role here? Because I probably should understand why this song is called Anagram now that I think about it. It's a puzzle, man. Let's keep going. Miracles will have their claimers, more like bow to Rome. Bow to Rome. Okay, so people will claim miracles. More will bow to Rome. So Rome, that's where the Catholic Church, that's where the Pope is, right? Vatican City. So anytime there is a miracle, there will be snake oil salesmen, people using these so-called miracles or things that cannot be explained to profiteer or add, let's say, credibility to their grift, presuming that the song is about religion. And I guess bowing to Rome makes me feel more confident in that it's about Catholicism specifically, but it could be about religion broadly. He and she are in the house, but there's only me at home. Oh my God, there's so many interpretations here. He and she are in the house. So who are he and she? Adam and Eve? But there's only me at home. Like, I'm the only one that's actually here, that's present in the current moment. So this is all that I do observe in the home. And there's that saying about, houses versus having a home. A house is very different. That's where you live, but a home is where you thrive. So he and she, I think, are referring to Adam and Eve. They're in the house, they're in the world, so to speak, but I'm the only one that's actually present and making this place palatable, livable, thrivable. He and she could also refer to parents, but I don't think this song talks much about the familial ties. Rose is a rose of splendor, posed to respond in the end. Like the Jesus crown of thorns, thorns have roses have thorns. Rose is a rose of splendor. So again, if that has any relation to Jesus, then this is a bit of an oxymoron because it's not really splendor that he was experiencing. He was experiencing suffering. But I feel like I'm overanalyzing that one. Posed to respond in the end. Roses are posed to respond in the end. What are they responding to? Lonely things like nights I find end finer with a friend. Right. Okay, so this is like romantic, I guess. I hear in the rate of her heart a tear in the heat of the art. A tear in the heat of the art? A tear, like during intercourse, a tear? Because you hear her heart rate. In the heat of the art, heat of passion, art, sex, passion. A tear? Is it a tear or a tear? I should listen to that here.
But there's only me at home. Rate of her heart, a tear in the heat of the art.
A tear in the heat of the art. So a tear could be like a physical tear in like the piece of artwork. Oh man, this is hard. The night is turning thin, the saint is turning to sin. And then this repeats here. I'm Googling anagram rush meaning. Let's see what phoning a friend delivers us. Within each line of the song is a word that contains letters from another word. For example, there's no safe seat at the feast. Okay, kind of an anagram, but more like just taking a few letters of feast and reassembling them. Take your best stab at the beast, so omitting a letter for each of these. The night is wearing thin, the saint is turning to sin. Is there a reason to do this? Geddy Lee, it doesn't really say one thing, it says a bunch of little things. Okay. I'm glad that it's not just like one cohesive message because I wasn't kind of getting that from the lyrics. It felt to me more like an amalgamation. I don't know if I stated that explicitly, but each independent portion has its own meaning. It was becoming challenging for me to find a cohesive flow. Let's keep reading here. You know, as long as it rolls off the tongue kind of thing. So I think different songs are different exercises to a degree, and I think that if they feel like exercises, then there's something wrong with the song. Okay. But if they can slip by in a kind of cohesive and fluid way, or if the effect is to be disjointed and sometimes that's what you're after, sometimes you want it to be jarring and disjointed and nonsensical. Yeah, if you want it to be crazy and, let's say atonal or arrhythmic or just random lyrics, you can do that. It's whatever the artist wants to do at the end of the day. It's the job as the consumer of the art, the enjoyer of the art, to interpret. And we can always come away with multiple interpretations, hence why Anagram is a cool name for a song like this. I think it depends on what you're trying to do and whether you've achieved it in your mind and whether it actually worked. Oh, so he's then adding this caveat here. It matters if the reason you wrote the song in the way you did actually manifests in reality. Strange. It almost feels a bit contradictory, but I'll keep reading. In Anagram, I think did work, even though it's a game. The whole song is a game. The choruses are quite smooth and quite interesting, and they have a nice sound to them, and they kind of mock the whole song itself. So I think it was effective there. mocking the whole song. The lyrics, there's no safe seat at the feast. Take your best stab at the beast. The night is turning thin, the saint is turning to sin. I can see this line definitely being a bit of like, haha, got you, because the song is the beast and take your best stab at it, because it's already arbitrary. And so any of these meals that you have, each of these like individual verses here are all collections for the feast, and nothing here is individually safe for you to consume, or as a collective it would be confusing at least. Man, I don't know. I feel like I've contradicted myself several times now trying to analyze these. Is there anything else to this song facts thing? Let's read some of the comments here. Only someone with the brain of Neil Peart could come up with lyrics like these. Just listen to the music. It's at least as clever as the lyrics. That's actually a very profound comment. This is a song is so much more clever than I thought. I listened to it for years and I loved it before really getting the anagrams. My favorite reasoning is this. Yeah, this is a good line. Reasoning is partly insane. Image just an eyeless game. Really poetic. If you take part of the letters from reasoning, you get insane. I-N-S-A-N-E. Yeah, you do. Is image without an I or I? Yeah, image. Oh, this one doesn't match. Game, eyeless game. Oh, image and game. Also, like the cosmic is largely comic, meaning if you looses the S in cosmic, you can make comic. Yeah, I mean, I noticed these small moments, and I guess I should have attributed them to anagrams. I've always known anagrams to be like, if you take all of the letters and you can reformulate, but I guess I also mentioned you could take subsets to create words. Dude, this one is like deleting my brain today. This is a clever song, even by Peart standards. My favorite, he and she are in the house, but there's only me at home. House has the letters for he and she. Home has me. Yeah, okay, I guess, content with knowing that these lyrics don't have to be completely cohesive and then just kind of flow together, but some of these individual moments make sense. I don't think it's my cup of tea, but I can definitely see the value in doing that, just forcing the listeners of Rush, especially us like critical thinkers, trying to analyze and understand and coming away with different interpretations. I think that is the beauty in art like this. Makes you think. And I feel like that's some of the most important things you can kind of instill in others these days. But yeah, enjoyable overall. Not a song I would listen to, I think, other than to dissect the lyrics, but hey, you know, I'm totally down to do more like this. There goes my camera, so I guess the reaction is ending here. I will see you guys in the next one. Hey friends, I hope you all enjoyed the reaction today, and if you'd like me to react to one of your favorite songs, you can hit the link in the description box down below. It is the best way to support my channel. But in any case, your support, your kindness, your comments, your likes, they mean the world to me, and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and peace.